Let's go, everybody. Awesome, Arlen. Thank you for that. Everybody give Arlen a round of applause, even though we can't see you. Janice, just helping me out, right? Like in school, duties as assigned, kind of like my assistant principal, always doing whatever, but we'll take care of you. The first thing, Janice, is I want a 3:40 time warning, right? I got the clock here. I'm in East Coast time, so 3:40. But let's get rolling, everybody. Surviving and thriving. Before I share my screen, let's go in. Everybody put their name in there. Arlen, if you could also tell me how many total people are on, that way I can monitor the chat a little bit. Let's start. The first
Yeah.
question, how many years as an administrator have you been? Just go ahead and punch that in. Let's see if we got rookies, if we got veterans. How many years?
Andrew, you've got 35 participants logged in, just to give you an
Okay.
idea.
Cool. Okay. Okay, good. Well, here's what I'll tell you. All the people that got double-digit numbers, we are going to look out and support those younger people. Those people are 5 and under. All these people on here got to be mentors and helping people. Kerry Young, 19 as a teacher. Way to go, Terry, Kerry. But all of you people in the double digits got to be mentoring and helping these younger administrators, because we need you. All right, right now, again, it's 4 o'clock East Coast time, 3 o'clock your time. You just got done with school, running around. Your energy level, 1 is you're ready to take a nap and fall asleep. 10 is you are so pumped up you could start for the Chicago Bulls tonight. 10 or 1. Give me your energy level. Tabitha needs going with, I got to wake Tabitha up. Come on, Tim, you better bring more energy than that. Good. Okay, my goal is to move the dial, positively influence you, and help increase that number. You have to bring energy into your schools as well. So I hope I could do that today on this live webinar. And last question before we start: surviving or thriving? 1 is you are barely surviving. You crawled into work today. You don't know if you're going to make it out. 10 is you are thriving. Show me that number of surviving and thriving. Good, good. 10. All right. Wow. Oh, that's inspiring right here to see these numbers. Fantastic. Well, that's good. Maybe you didn't need the seminar then. Maybe we'll turn it over to you guys and have you do it. But that's great. That's inspiring to see that number. Let's get rolling, everybody. I'm going to share my screen. And again, Janice, maybe some of the stuff that's on the screen, things like that I ask you to put in the chat, we'll do that. You'll get the hang of it here in a minute. And here we go. Okay. So we are surviving and thriving today with you, and it's an honor to be with you. So Andrew's mom called this morning and said, "Hey, you got to get up for school, Andrew." And Andrew said, "Mama, I'm not going to school. I don't have my work done." And Andrew's mom said, "Well, yeah, you're going to school." And Andrew said, "I don't have my work done, and no one sits with me in the cafeteria." And Andrew's mom said, "Andrew, I don't care. You got to go to school." Mom, no one's, I don't have my work done. No one sits with me in the cafeteria, and none of the teachers and none of the kids like me. She said, "Andrew, you are a school leader in Port Jervis. You've been there 20 years now. Get up and go to school." Sometimes they don't like us. That's okay. It comes part of the job. Here's Team Marotta. Here's me, my beautiful wife in the middle there, right? Kind of the support of the whole family. But that's when my kids were little. They were excited that daddy was an author. Daddy wrote a book, and now, forget it. I can't even like get them to come out of their rooms. I'm surviving, right, as a dad. But that picture of being tied up in the school, it looks like that sometimes, and it feels like that sometimes, right? And look at the kids. They grew up now. There they are. I got 3 teenagers in the house. God bless us all if you got a teenager. And we were fortunate. We got featured on the local little magazine. It was really nice. So, but here's me at Port Jervis. And like you, many of the things you're trying to do in your school, we're doing the same thing here. Our graduation rate used to be in the low 60s, and it's almost at 90 now. and I'm thrilled about that, right? A lot of hard work there. We're working on cleaning up our schools smoke free, and probably like many of your schools, we are fighting the epidemic of vaping. Here's where Port Jervis is. We're an hour and a half northwest of New York City, and we're right on the border of New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. It's a beautiful small city of in New York. It's not one of the big cities of Buffalo, New York City, Albany, those. It's one of the small cities here in Port Jervis, home to the Olympic champion Bannock brother wrestlers, if you're a wrestler there, Port Jervis. I used to referee, as I said, my friend Tim Swade is on here. He's a ref in Illinois, and it was a great run. I wasn't in the Big Ten for all you out in the Illinois, Chicago area, but I was in the ACC, and it was an amazing run. I also run a podcast. You could check that out, Education, Leadership, and Beyond. Janice, if you want to throw that in the chat, that's the name of the podcast, Education, Leadership, and Beyond. And you think about the two jobs, right? The two jobs of being an official and being a school leader. There were so many of the same things. And I want to try to get to the chat. There we go. There we go. So many of the same things doing it. Think about the two jobs. You're in the spotlight. You have to make quick decisions. People get emotional and upset about your decisions, and you have to perform through all of that. So they used to really kind of help me in those two jobs there, doing those two different things. Hold on, I wanted to go back, but that's all right. Here's what we're doing today in the next 30, 40, 45 minutes, right? We're going to share. We're going to have some fun with each other. I am going to ask you to be active in the chat. I'm going to ask some questions, things like that. But I really want you to have some fun. I want you to walk away more energized than not, right? And here's the topics. Here's the 4 topics. Like when you go in a classroom, you want to know what those learning targets are. Well, here's what we're doing today. Storytelling and the power of the impact there, right? Number 2, owning your time. We're going to talk a little bit about that management. For all you people that are in 0 to 6 or 7 years, it's hard to figure out the job. You're getting pulled, supporting your team, supporting yourself, supporting your family through all of this. And lastly, a story about significance versus being successful. So I'm on Twitter. There's my handle, and that's my Twitter there, and I use Twitter. I don't want to get into the politics of it. I know it changed with the new CEO there, but it is a great way to share. And the great Todd Whitaker said this, and I'm not here to lecture anybody today, but this is what Todd Whitaker said about being on Twitter. And especially as an educator, there's so much to learn there about it. And I want to tell you a little story here. Here is one of my books here, Dads, Leaders, and Father Figures. And the guy in the picture there in the blue, and Janice, tell me, is the chat in your screen? Are you guys seeing my chat in your screen or no? Can you tell me that, Janice? Because I have my chat open here. No, okay, good. If you look at that picture, the guy in the black shirt is my college roommate. The other 2 guys, I did not know before we did this project together. We met on Twitter. I saw what they were posting. I saw what they were writing. And I said, hey, do you want to work on this project together? And now we have a book, right? So I believe that quote there, that people, the Twitter won't change your life, but the people you meet on it will. I'm going to give you my cell number. I got people in Pakistan here, but here's my cell. I want to be connected with you. I want to be able to help you. If you say, hey, Andrew, what was that story? I do a lot of voice texts back to you, but I want to support you and help you on your journey. So that's my number. Janice, if you want to put that in the chat, that's my cell number. Okay, 917-385-9430. You're not bothering me if you text me, okay? And all the stuff we're going to do today, right? You can't go into school tomorrow and say, hey, I want it to work, right? The stuff I'm going to give you, right? It's not magic. It's not. It's you putting into action the things that you want to accomplish in your day here. Here is the stories, or here are the stories I'm going to tell today. So if you want to take that QR code, and let me see if I could grab it from my other screen and put it in the chat. No, sorry, I got two screens open. Yeah, sorry. But there it is, your QR code for you techies. You can hold up your cell phone. Janice, if you're able to grab that and then put the stories in the chat, that would be helpful. Also, if you can't, I will get it again at the end. But these are the stories I'm going to tell over the session there. I'll go back one more. And if you want to grab that, it's just a rundown of the stories that I'm going to tell today. And here's the first one. Here's the first story I'm going to tell today. And it's about the power of a single experience. So I want you to write this phone number down. I'm not trying to sell you anything. It's not a gimmick. Dr. Rob Gilbert changed my life. So this is called the Success Hotline. Okay. And a few years ago, back in 2014, 2015, just like I'm telling you to call the Success Hotline, a friend of mine said, Andrew, you got to call the Success Hotline. Dr. Gilbert is a sports psychologist at Montclair State University in New Jersey. Dr. Gilbert, actually today is the 32nd anniversary. Get ready, little drum roll, please, drum roll. He's been leaving a 3-minute message about success for the last 32 years. What? Every day. Janice, if you could put that number in the chat. Incredible. He's been leaving a message about success, and you can leave him a message. Long story short, him and I hit it off. We connect. He says, Andrew, I want you to come down to my class and speak to my students. I go down there. We have a great experience. I hit it off. He liked me. I liked him. And he handed me 10 books when he was done. And 2 of them were his. And he says, Andrew, where's your book? I said, Dr. Gilbert, I got young kids. I'm a referee. I'm a principal. I don't have a book. I can't do it. And he says, oh, Andrew, you were great. You have to have a book. I said, I don't know how to do it. He says, you don't have to know how to do it. All you got to do is write down the things you're doing as a principal. I got ADD. It's a superpower, not a disability. And bam, on the way home, I did talk to text. I had 60 things. The next day at school, I always have my notepad, always something to write with. I had 40 more. And in less than 24 hours, I had 100 of the 125 tips in this book. And I tell you that story because your interactions matter. They matter when you talk to kids at school, when you talk to colleagues at school. They are important and they matter, and you could change lives. Dr. Gilbert changed my life. I highly, highly, highly recommend that you start calling the Success Hotline. It's free and there's no gimmicks. He's the real deal. He's actually hosting a seminar tonight. He's hosting a seminar tonight at 7 o'clock Eastern time, and I'm going to that. He's so awesome. And now look what happened. Like, I was a C writer in school. I hated writing. I hated reading. And look what happened. It's incredible. Thank you, Janice, for getting that stuff in the chat. It's incredible. And Dr. Gilbert kind of opened this world for me of book writing. So, all right. We have some people on here looking for resources. We had a superintendent on here, said he's looking for some fresh ideas. Well, the power of storytelling. Right now, our people on this seminar, you guys were thriving. Your energy level was midway. I would say, looking at those numbers, it might have been a 6 average. Well, here's a story about positivity. See, there was a superintendent in Illinois that was looking to raise some funds in their district, and he said, you know what, I'm gonna send 2 salespeople out to a remote island in the Pacific, and we're gonna have them sell shoes, and we're gonna raise money for the school district. Whoa, interesting idea, very different, right? So they fly these 2 people to this remote island, and the first salesperson calls back in 24 hours and says, Mrs. Superintendent, pick me up. Nobody wears shoes here. 24 hours later, the second salesperson called the superintendent and said, hey, send every pair of shoes you have. Nobody wears shoes here. It's kind of how you look at it, how you reframe it, how you lead in your school. Tell this story at a faculty meeting, tell this story at an assembly, right? It makes people think about their own positivity and their own actions. How about kids, right? You got kids in your school. I know they're not in your school. Maybe there's a few in mine, but they're not in your school. Maybe being untruthful. For all you rookie administrators, try calling a kid a liar in front of a parent and let me know how that goes. Shoot me a text. Let me know how that goes. Or you could tell the story of fire, water, and trust. See, fire, water, and trust. We're walking through the woods in Western Illinois. And they said, hey, man, these woods are real thick here. We should make a plan if we get separated. And they said, yeah, we should. That's a good idea. Fire said, you can find me, no problem. The smoke, the heat, the flames, you can find me. Water said, yeah, you can find me too. The lakes, the rivers, the lush green, the lush grass. Trust had his arms folded. They said, what's the matter? He was shaking his head. He said, if you lose me, you'll have a really hard time finding me once again. Fire, water, and trust. The power of stories and the impact on people. We got a lot of people from Illinois here. Well, here's another story. There's a blog I wrote about it. Go in the chat. Let me know who saw the movie Air. Let me know if you saw the movie Air. Jump in the chat. Say yes. Tell me, give me a thumbs up. You liked it. Did you see the movie Air? I'm going to take a drink of water while those answers are coming up. Yes, it was great. It was great, Angie. It was great. No, but it's on my list. Get going, Kerry. Yeah, of course you did, Tim. Not yet, Laura. Good answer. Look at that growth mindset. Wow, Laura, that's a hard last name to spell. I would definitely screw that up in the spelling bee. All right. Well, here's a story from the movie, and I highly recommend you watch the movie. So we know the ending, right? Michael Jordan signs with Nike. We know that. We know the ending. A lot of you are from Illinois. Of course you know that. And Mrs. Jordan calls Phil Knight and says, yep, we're going to sign with you. And Nike's like, yeah, Phil Knight, yeah. And she says, well, hold on, Phil, there's one thing. Michael's going to get 5% of every shoe sold. And Phil Knight's like, what? What are you talking about? We can't give him ownership in the company. And they said, Phil, it's just a shoe until Michael steps into it. It's just a shoe until Michael steps into it. So I'm here to challenge you, educators. It's just a classroom until you step into it. It's just a school district until you lead it. It's just another building until you bring the energy into there. It's just a shoe until Michael steps into it. And he certainly delivered on Mrs. Jordan's promise to Phil Knight, didn't he? There's a blog I wrote. You can take that. Janice is getting quick with her links. Thanks, Janice. Yeah, a lot of inspiration there. I loved the movie there. Okay, here's another one. I usually call on somebody. I didn't realize that I couldn't interact visually with people, but there's another story there, and you could get that here. And again, we have a superintendent. I forgot the gentleman's name who said he's looking for something fresh. Well, here's some different ideas, right? You want to give a graduation speech. You want to give a moving up speech. You want to give a motivational speech to a group of kids. I got this on Amazon, right? Here's the pencil here. And it's a great pencil. It's a great pencil for 5 reasons. And they're in the chat there. They're in that QR code. Number 1, it's got a sharp point. And when that point gets dull, we got to sharpen it. Number 1, just like you, that's why you're here today. You sharpen your saw. Number 2, we're going to make mistakes. When we do that, we have to forgive ourselves and we got to erase our mistakes. It happens in leadership as well. Number 3, I can write on every surface in this room. It's adaptable. The pencil can write on any surface. It's adaptable. Number 4, it's in my hands, right? If it's sitting here on the counter by itself, it can't be great. It has to be held in someone else's hands to be great. So do you in your school and your leadership. You have to give to your students, your staff, your community, your board members. You have to allow yourself to be held in somebody else's hand. And lastly, the fifth attribute of the great pencil. Is it what's on the outside that's most important, or what's on the inside? Same with you. You could be the most sharp dressed person in your building, but you got to have that character. You got to have that spirit inside your soul and your heart and your mind to do great things for your kids and your school. Look at Janice is doing give her Janice a little love in the chat. You're on fire, Janice. Thank you. You're doing great. I appreciate you. So I'm giving you that story. You go into a kindergarten class, bring 30 pencils, sharpened, of course, and you talk about the attributes of the pencil. Mr. Superintendent, maybe this is your speech at graduation next year for all you principals, you high school principals, right? So a story and a prop there. All right. I am going to stop sharing for a moment. Not why do we tell stories, not why. How? How do we become better storytellers? In the chat right now, how do we become better storytellers? Not why. How? Go ahead. You got to be engaging, right? You got to be engaging. You got to practice them, Rhonda. That's right, Laura. You got to have the details. You got to have the good details. How do we do it? The hook. What's the hook, right? Props are a great hook. Lauren, you got to believe the stories yourself, right? Enthusiasm. The last IASM. I am sold myself. Getting to know your audience, right? Setting the scene, relatable, relating to your audience. Excitement, Laura. Good. Humanity, the hook. Couple more. You tell the right story at the right time to the right people. Get out of your office and move around. That's right, Stacy. Great. That's what you got to find them. Passion, speak the truth. Little humor, right? You can't be afraid to have some fun. The stories are happening all day long. Absolutely. All right. So here's a couple of my answers as well to you. So, right, calling the hotline. I gave you that thing. I'm telling you, if you want to become a better storyteller, oh, now I can put the chat on this screen. That's much better. Looking for the stories. You guys said that. They're everywhere. TED Talks, a great way. Great speakers. I hope when you leave today, you say, wow, he was a great speaker. Podcasts, writing them down. I always have my stuff. I always got my little black book. I always have my notepad. I always have my book somewhere to write them down, right? You always want to write them down. The stories are happening everywhere. You are right about that, Stacy. She said, get out of the office, right? Step out of the norm. And again, showing some enthusiasm. And you just got to do it. You got to practice these stories. These stories I'm telling you today, I've told 1,000 times. I've learned, I practice. My kids walk into my room and say, Dad, are you talking to yourself again? Or are you practicing your stories? You got to practice them, right? Doesn't come all the time. All right, little brain break. We've been going 20, 30 minutes here. Little brain break. Surviving and thriving. To thrive, one thing you got to do is talk to yourself. You have to talk to yourself a positive affirmation. So I'm going to give you mine. I'm going to give you mine right here. Everybody, even though I can't see you, hold up your right hand. Hold up your right hand. Say after me. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. I do that all the time, multiple times a day before I go into that difficult meeting, that difficult phone call I have to make, the big presentation with ELN today. I can do this. So in the chat right now, what is a positive affirmation or a confidence producing affirmation that you tell yourself? Go ahead. in the chat. I can do hard things. Good. You got this, Janice. You got this. What we tell ourselves is so important. I could do anything for X amount of more minutes. I have everything I need to get this done. That's beautiful. How do you say that? Kim trees? That's beautiful. I can handle anything for X amount of days, right? You want to survive the week, survive the year. You are not the first to walk on this path. I grew up with my dad telling, this ain't no hill for a stepper. You are a stepper. Wow. I like that, Stacy. Here's another one. Every day in every way, I'm getting better and better. Every day in every way, I'm getting better and better, right? I can do this. Even the touching of the hands helps you. So positive affirmations, little brain breaks. It always works out, Jackie. Why worry? Nice. Okay. Owning your time. We're going to go quickly on this because we don't have a whole lot of time today. But owning, not managing your time, owning your time. I felt like that picture there when I started. When I was in my third, fourth, fifth year, it felt like everything was rushing past me, right? And I learned about owning my time. So take this QR code, and it's a first responder video. You could also find it on YouTube. And it's on PBS network, but it's a 13-minute video about maximizing your time as a school leader. I highly recommend you watch it with your team. This could be a summer activity. This could be kind of like a vacation day activity, or like when the kids aren't there, something that you could do with your team. And then I recommend you watch it with your clerical, right? Is your secretary the one that says, Mrs. Jones online too, I'm putting her right through, right? And Mrs. Jones is screaming on the phone, or is your secretary handling that situation, right? So take that. I'll give you another minute. Look at Janice, everyone. Give her an applause in the chat. Janice, you are being a captain and then some, man. I appreciate you, Janice. Yeah, look at that. Awesome. But that's a great video. 13 minutes, well worth your time. And a couple things about your time. Making the important thing the important thing. Making the important thing the important thing. So this is another, again, a summer activity. This is an activity that you could do with your team. For you superintendents on there, asking your principals and your assistant principals and your deans, what are the most important things that you have to accomplish? So right now in the chat, give me, what is the most important thing that you want to accomplish in your day? Go ahead. The most important thing you want to accomplish in your day. Connecting with others, absolutely. Building relationships, face-to-face conversations, building culture, making sure students and staff feel cared for each day. Stacy, that's a heavy lift. That's a lot, yeah. Positive relationships, building relationships. I want y'all to come work here in Port Jervis. I love it. Awesome. So what you got to do is make sure that you put systems in place that you could go do those things. So that's a summer activity, a vacation activity that you could do in line with that that video. And again, you want to take a picture of that, but I highly recommend you do that for your team. Another thing is I highly recommend you make appointments, right? Someone stops you in the hallway. Oh, do you have a second? In the chat, tell me, how long does a second take where you live? How long does a second take? Oh, do you have a second? Mr. Marotta, you have a second? How long does a second take? Felicia got an hour. Yeah. Yeah, 15 minutes. You get caught into this thing, right? You say, hey, Felicia, I love you. I'm going to an observation right now. I'd love to hear about it. I know your prep is fourth period tomorrow. Go see my secretary. Jean Marie is my secretary. Go see Jean Marie and get on the schedule, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Thank you so much. Make appointments. Be careful of the time suckers, right? They have second. Stacy says, yeah, I have a second. I'll listen to you, but send me an email and a text. And so, Stacy, you're right. That's a good thing. You have, hey, send me a text, right? Now you're back on them. I even like to take it a step further and use my secretary. Use, hey, Jean Marie, get Stacy on my schedule. Now I'm not giving that person something else to do. I'm using my tools and my secretary to help me do it. Or I even say, hey, Siri, set a reminder, right? Set a reminder to blah, 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 right? Those are things that I do to try to help. And here's a couple bonus tips here. For all you people that want to save the world, don't take that angry phone call. Don't do it. It'll bite you in the butt, right? I started calling people back on my cell phone. *67. Put in the chat, what happens when you use *67? You got that where you live? You got that in Pakistan? No, no caller ID. Are they picking that call up, Megan? Nope. Mrs. Jones, hey, it's Mr. Marotta from Port Jervis Schools. I'm sorry I missed you today. I know there was an issue with Tim. Do me a favor, call me tomorrow. I have some time at 9 o'clock. I'll put it in my calendar. If that doesn't work for you, we'll pick a different time. But I'll ring you tomorrow at 9, and that way we can go over with Tim. He's a great kid. I want to see him get through this situation. Thanks so much, Mrs. Jones. Now I'm on my way to the gym. I'm on my way to my kid's game. I'm on my way to the date with my wife, because those are the important things that I want to do while getting back to Mrs. Jones. We now have the Port Jervis app on my phone that I could call from my cell phone and get, it says Port Jervis Schools. So always write a handwritten note the next day. I'm here in my office at school. I got all kinds of note cards and cards and stickers and envelopes. Always that handwritten note is a great thing. If you don't have that, get an account at Vista Print or one of those things there. So, all right, I got 4:36 here. That means it's almost 3:36 there. Janice, I want about 5 more minutes. Couple things on support. Supporting you, supporting your team. You got to take care of you first, right? It's cold this time of the year, unless you're coming to us from down south, but always find some time to walk, some quiet time, whether it's in the morning. Arlen and I were talking earlier about getting that time. He's going to the gym after this workout. He set up the kind of babysitting for his kids at the gym. So him and his wife got an hour block. They could go work out. Take that time for yourself, right? I care a whole lot, but I got a windshield wiper mentality. Janice, put that in the chat. I'm moving on. The next day is coming. I don't bring that home with me. I presented in Oregon last summer, and a lady raised her hand. She said, Andrew, I pull over on the way home. I have a beautiful bluff near my house. It's about 5 minutes from my house. I pull over, I take a deep breath, I open the window, and I do this. I said, well, what the heck was that? She said, dropping the SHIT and letting it go. And she lets it go for the day. She says, the next day I drive back and I pick it up. I don't stop, but I pick it up because it'll be there. Don't bring it home with you. I love this one. Say it with me where you're at. It's okay. Say it with me where you're at. I think this is so important. It's called the 5 SWs. Here we go. Sometimes it will. Sometimes it won't. So what? Someone's waiting. Stick with it. For our superintendent that wanted fresh ideas, I hope you like the 5 SWs. It's magic sauce. The 5 SWs help keep you going, help keep you surviving and thriving. You got to stick with it. Somebody is waiting. Guys, you're here today for PD. Again, I talked about Twitter, but how else are you getting PD? How else are you growing? This is a sign up for my blog. I would love for you if you signed up. right? You'll get a blog every Monday in your mailbox. It's inspiration. And let's take it to the next level. I invite you, Tim Swade. I invite you, Felicia Starks, Carrie Young, Lauren Weingarten. I invite you to write a blog. Share your blog and it'll go out to thousands of people. And that's growing. That's inspiration. That's helping others. So maybe it was something I said on here that resonated with you. So I'm challenging you not only to absorb and consume the blogs and grow, but also help others grow by you writing. So that's a sign up there. I'd love for you to sign up for the blog. I'm not here to lecture any adult. I'm here to inspire you. What I am here to tell you is that was me. That was me some years ago, and I made a change in my life that I charge my phone in the other room. We all know it's good for us. So I'm here to challenge you. Put that phone in the other room, and then you'll read that book that you want to read. Set a timer for 15 minutes, and you read 15 minutes a night, you'll read 15 to 20 books a year. Do it. I'm not here to lecture anybody, but I am here to, oh, sorry. What did I do? Oh, sorry. No, I don't want that. Sorry. Again, not here to lecture anybody, but just like I challenged you to write a blog, this gentleman wrote a blog and I didn't know he was an alcoholic. And he shared this blog with me and he wrote that. So it's about being mindful of alcohol. And that's a great documentary on Netflix. You want to do something with you and your spouse? It's called The Truth About Alcohol. I have alcoholism in my family. We all have alcoholism in our family. And you know, you taking care of yourself and being responsible is a great thing. Here's a great resource. I have had a full school assembly here in Port Jervis showing this. It's called Under the Surface Empathy Film. I'm not going to show it today. This one's only 3.5 minutes. It's on YouTube. You can write it down. You don't need Janice to get it for you. Under the Surface YouTube. And it's a great video on empathy and understanding. Unfortunately, our neighboring school district had a suicide in their school community 2 days ago. And it affects us all. This is a great resource to show kids, to show staff. I highly recommend you do that. Under the Surface Empathy Film. Gave you a lot of stuff here. I know it's 3:40 where you are. A lot of stuff. And as I said before, it's not magic. You don't need to be certified or trained. You just got to do some of these things, right? And again, if I could see you, I would interact with you. But for all you looking for props and ideas, here it is. Pay attention with me. In the chat, how many seeds are in this apple? This is a nice Honey Crisp here. In the chat, how many seeds are in this apple? Go ahead. Good guess, Tabitha. We have some kids that need to stay after school and do some science studying, but good guess. Thanks for your participation. For all of those that put between 5 and 8, there's your answer. The answer is between 5 and 8. Here's my question now. John's on his way. Here's my question. How many apples are going to come from those seeds? How many apples are going to come from those seeds? Go ahead and throw it in the chat. Thousands, Lindsay, right? Tabitha, thousands. John, lots and lots. You're right. And it's like us as educators. That's what we're doing. We're planting seeds. I want everyone to kind of read that. You read it. You can count the number of seeds in the apple, but you cannot count the number of apples in the seeds. That's what we're doing with people, everybody. Right? We're planting seeds and we have to nurture them and take care of them. And those then go on to do great things. They're like our students, right? And think about that picture there. We've all seen this and all heard this before. But are we doing these things to help others feel special? I know this group is, based on your answers today, I can feel that from you, that we are making an impact on making people feel great. Okay. A lot of stuff here. Again, it's 4:45. I want to get you out of here, or 3:45. I want to get you out of here in the next 5 or 10 minutes. In the chat, let's do some Q&A. I have one more powerful story in the chat. What's a question or a comment you have? I like to have people, when I present in person, right? Who has a question? It takes people a little time to process. Take a couple seconds, but you could do this at a faculty meeting, or you could do it with kids. Say, hey, write a question down. You don't say, do you have a question? Write a question. So write a question. I'm asking you to write a question. Stacy, how long did it take you to write the first book? Here it is, Stacy, the principal. I hope to get it into that mentoring program with IPA. It's a great resource. This one, I had the ideas in 24 hours, right? And then I wrote the excerpts. They're short little vignettes. They're short little things, right? They're short little stories. Probably a year, this one. I call the success message, Tabitha, first thing in the morning. I got my notebook here. I'm always writing the stuff down, right? This is my 4th notebook I have. I put the date there, and I every morning. So I highly recommend you do that, calling that success hotline. Good questions. Couple more. Come on, let's generate some conversation. I've been in Port Jervis, Cary, 20 years. I moved up here in 04, 05, and I've been a administrator. I was an assistant principal for 9 years, high school principal for 7 years, middle school principal for 2 years, and now I'm the director of communications and academic services here in Port Jervis. Look on our website, look on our Facebook page. I'm getting to do a ton of great, cool content. Really cool. Yeah. Couple more. How do you protect your time if district administration is in contact during the evening? Kim Treese, that's an interesting question. Some people just put on their things about off school hours, right? Some other people have relationships where you can text. I'm of the belief that it's more than a 7 to 4 job, right? You have a student death. Those are things, you got to be in touch with. What I would say, Kim Treese, is have a conversation about the norms. I've had several APs that I've worked with. Some we were texting at 6 in the morning, 5 at night, whatever. And others said, hey, Andrew, I have my kids, I have my things. And as a leader, I adjusted to that. I would have the conversation, Kim Treese, about you and your well-being, and hey, how can we work out some norms here? What's your expectations of me? Some people expect you to answer emails. I schedule all my emails for 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. If I'm writing them on a Saturday or Sunday, I'm scheduling them for Monday morning at like 9, not at 7. That's my stuff. But you got to have that conversation, Kim Treese. If I'm saying your name right, I hope I am. One more. How about one more? Come on. Good questions. Yes, this is a green drink with orange juice and an orange in there. No more questions? I usually get some refereeing questions. All right, well, we want to get you out of here. And I have one last story. If a question comes up in the chat, I will get to it. All right, my last question. Do you want to be successful or significant? Do you want to be successful or significant? And this is a story about my dad and my superintendent, and going back to 06, 07, 05, right? In 05, my dad was diagnosed with colon cancer, and he had diabetes. He lost his vision all between like 02 and 05. It was a rough time. And then he needed a kidney transplant from the diabetes. This is a true story. And the guy in the blue Giants hat, go New York Giants. My brother gave my dad a kidney. And in honor of that kidney, my dad was like Forrest Gump off the porch, started walking. And then he said, I'm going to do the New York City Marathon. And we were like, Dad, You're blind, you're out of shape, you haven't walked a mile in your life, and you're gonna walk 26.2? No way. We do the marathon in 06, we do the marathon in 07, and in 08, we were blessed to have a videographer with us, this guy in the gray hat right there. And here it's on YouTube, like a lot of the videos here. If you want to punch in there, Janice, Mr. Joe Marathon, Mr. Joe Marathon. It's 9.5 minutes. It's on YouTube. A great video tribute to my dad on this day. But in this third and last marathon, my dad, a little different. If you look at him here towards the end, we literally were carrying him across the finish line. He struggled in this marathon. You could see the first two marathons we did in about 7 hours. We were walking. This one took us 9 hours and 16 minutes, but there we are. And unfortunately, my dad passed away at the end of it. And he had a heart attack when he got home and passed away. And I did get to see him deceased, but I got to hug him and kiss him. And I got to spend his last day of his life with his two sons and a friend. And it was a powerful thing. I was exhausted mentally and physically afterwards. I was out of school the whole week. That whole week, Dad died on a Sunday. I was out the whole week. The following Monday, I still was on empty, and I'm blessed with energy, and I couldn't wake up and go to work. And it was finally that Tuesday. I was out of day 6 days. Imagine you were not in school for 6 days. How busy, how much would go, and I go in on that 7th day, and I'm ready. I'm ready for people to say, Andrew, I'm sorry for your loss. I was ready. Was that what I wasn't ready for was the first phone call that I got on the voicemail. I got in early that Tuesday, right? Dad died on a Sunday, the whole week, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So it's 7 days later. And it was my superintendent, John X. And he said, Andrew, it's X. How is the marathon? Tell me about it. I can't wait to hear about it. I know your dad's your guy and you have a great time doing that. He called that following morning, then Monday morning. Obviously he didn't know my dad had passed away. I didn't get this message until a week later. And it hit me like a ton of bricks that the superintendent called me. How is the marathon? That's connection. That's caring. So I urge you to do those little things that maybe you don't see that is so important. They are the most important. And it would be an honor if you watch that video, maybe with a loved one this weekend, about my dad there. Here's a great resource as we wind down here, a couple more minutes, right? I'm telling you to call the hotline. It's incredible. Get a notebook and put it there. Take care of your family first. There we are. This is us on vacation in Vermont last summer. Got some ice cream there. So blessed. Teenagers are so fragile. Be with those kids and hold those kids before they get going with you. I firmly believe this to be true. You got to do a lot of stuff as an administrator, as a school leader, but you got to inspire others first. Here's a great one. Maybe take a picture of this. This could be a whole session on its own. But every day I practice savers. Janice, if you could grab this quick. Savers, silence, affirmation, visualization. I visualize myself doing a great job. Exercise, reading, and scribing. I do those 6 things in my first 45 to 50 minutes every day. And it helps set my course for success. I highly recommend Savers. That's from the book, The Miracle Morning. Is a great thing there. And an awesome sauce mindset. I love this one, right? We all have events that happen in school. We all want positive outcomes. It's those the responses that help it. E plus R equals O. Focus on the response. We all have crazy events. It's the response that matters to get that outcome. Again, here's my cell phone. You're not going to bother me. If you text me at all, if you want to text me, let me know you enjoyed the session. Those mean a lot to me as well. I told you that. It's not magic, everybody. It's you bringing your positive energy to it. One last story. I planted that tree in my first year in Port Jervis. It looked like the Charlie Brown tree. Dogs peed on it, kids kicked it, threw garbage on it. People laughed at me, right? I got it as a donation and I wanted to beautify the campus. This was last spring. I had a pink shirt on. I saw that pink dogwood. Look at it. It's beautiful. And the quote is that he or she who plants the tree rarely gets to enjoy its shade. He or she who plants the tree rarely gets to enjoy its shade. Keep planting trees, everybody. I do workshops, guys. I'd love to come to your district, inspirational keynotes, school openings, school closings. And I love talking with educators, teachers. I do a lot of administrative retreats for leadership groups. You can learn at andrewmarotta.com is all my stuff. Those are the books. I'd be happy to offer a discount of books for the group here. All right, last thing, promise, and then I'm going to let you go. It's called That's Not My Job. You got these people that work in your school? You got these people? Because here's a story about 4 people. Everybody, somebody, anybody, and nobody. And it was an important job to be done. And everybody was sure that somebody would do it. Anybody could have done it, but nobody did it. I'll give you a second to take a picture. Mr. Superintendent, this is a great story for district opening, district closing. Take a picture of it. Somebody got angry about that because it was everybody's job. Everybody thought anybody could do it, but nobody realized that everybody wouldn't do it. Take that picture. It ended up that everyone blamed somebody when nobody did what anybody could have done. I'm challenging you as we end here to do it. Be that person getting it done in your district. Keep surviving and thriving, friends. It was an honor to be with you. Again, I ask you to take action on the things that you want to do in your life. Appreciate you. I'll stop sharing now. And I know it's almost time to go. Here's my man, Arlen. If you had any last questions and you want to throw those in the chat, you could do that. And I know we got to wrap up here soon. I hope you enjoyed it. How about a round of applause, everybody? All right. Thanks for sticking with me, Arlen. Yeah, thanks, Laura. Carrie, thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Andrew. Love the stories. I love your passion for education and really appreciate you joining us here online to share this incredible presentation with all of us. Put your thank yous to Andrew in the chat.
Well, and Arlen, I forgot to ask. I saw Kim Treese put it in there. What's your energy level now? Let's get some instant learning. Show me your energy level right now. 12.
Wow,
Yeah,
off the
Carrie.
charts. That's great.
Yeah, awesome. My email is andrewmarotta.llc@gmail.com. andrewmarotta.llc@gmail.com. I got a lot of 10s, Arlen. That's good feedback. I'm sick with pneumonia. Oh, Megan. Oh, man. Cool.
Yeah, your passion just jumps right through the screen, Andrew. We really appreciate that.
I'll tell my wife you said that, Arlen. She says
Yes.
to back it up sometimes.
Oh, yeah. No, it's good. That's exactly what we needed this afternoon, and you delivered it.
Great. Thank you, everybody. Don't hesitate to reach out.
And just as a reminder, this presentation was recorded. I'll be sending out the link to the recording tomorrow morning. You'll also get a link to an evaluation where you can let us know how we did with today's webinar. And for you Illinois participants, if you complete the evaluation, you can download the ISB evidence of completion form for your 1 PD clock hour. And if you're from New York, we'll have the CTLE form ready as well for your continuing education credits. I'm going to stop the recording now.